Hey Rachel, how do you like your bike?
I love it, but it sure would be nice if I didn't have to lean over quite so far.
Hey, well, you know what? I've got something in my saddlebag that might solve that problem. There's a park up here. You want to go and see if we can put it on?
Let's do it!
All right.
So tell me about this thing you bought.
Well, they are called risers, and we've got these risers from Amazon, and they're made by Bikemaster, and they're kind of customizable and should fit on your 2020 Rebel 500.
That's fantastic. Look, here's a turnout to a park. Let's turn here.
Do you think that we might get hired for commercials later? I don't think so.
I think maybe not.
Maybe not. All right. So the deal with the risers on the bike is you're having to lean forward and down a little bit more than you're used to, right?
Correct. Also, I have a little issue with my left shoulder, and it doesn't really like to be extended quite that far.
So are these risers should be able to mitigate that problem. Here we are at Byron Stewart Park, sometimes called Buddy Stewart Park in Cleburne, Texas. And we are going to install these Bikemaster aluminum bar risers onto Rachel's Rebel 500. It's a 2020 model, so there's a little bit that we need to be aware of because the speedometer is part of the handlebar clamp, a part of the upper handlebar clamp. So we had to be specific on the type of risers. We also went to the local Honda dealer, and they took a micrometer to the handlebar and measured it as exactly a 1-inch handlebar. So finding 1-inch handlebar risers, we were limited, and the Bikemasters were what was readily available. The good news is on Amazon they're a little under $40. I think it was like 38 something. I'm not entirely sure, but they can be gotten, and we got them in black as well so that they will match the blacked out part of the bike. So the first thing we need to do is unbox or unpack the Bikemaster stuff. It just flops out of here. Boom, boom. And here are the actual risers here. And you can see how they kind of come together. It's multiple packs, multiple pieces, so we can customize the height. And they're all cast aluminum and they kind of fit together right. And we've got all kinds of different length hex bolts that we can use to make sure that we've got it correct. The tool that we're going to use for this is a 6mm Allen wrench. That's the only tool that we should need, except for, torque wrench. But so let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is get where I can see and start loosening these Allen wrenches, the hex bolts. There we go. Should have probably broken these off camera. You know what? Probably wouldn't be a bad idea. All right, so first off, how I said we only need the one tool, I was wrong. We need a 5mm. I'm going to loosen this up to try to get this out of the way a little bit. All right, now I can move that out of the way. So you need a 5mm Allen wrench to do that. So back to the 6. See how that's a lot easier. See how the mounting bracket for the speedometer is part of the upper handlebar clamp. So whatever we've got to do, we've still got to keep this handlebar clamp in place so we can use it. That line right there in the middle of the bars should line up with the holes when we put the handlebar back on. So now I just got to do the other side. Done. So that is the handlebar clamps removal. Now we're ready to take the handlebars off. All right, so then I'm just going to lift up, and then the handlebars just kind of scoot out of the way a little bit. We don't have a whole lot of play as far as cabling goes. I can unclip that, and then I got a little bit more room. But that's about all the further I'm going to be able to get this thing to come up. So, handlebars out of the way. Now we're ready to put some of the riser plates on. Let's see here. Okay, so the first one goes in there. And if I try to build it like this, like that, this is going to give us a 1-inch rise on these handlebars. And that's more than the cabling will allow. So, not working out all the way up. Let's hold this together with a bolt, shall we? So, yeah, what we're getting here is B-roll. So what I'm going to do is put that there and kind of drop everything. Okay, so through some trial and error, I've found the best way to do this. I'm going to try to use everything. So this is the lower part of the riser bracket, the smaller of the 2 shims that it comes with, the larger of the 2 shims, and the upper part of the bracket, and the longest possible hex bolt that came with the kit. All of this stuff comes with the Bikemaster kit. So, holding it together like so, it's going to lift the handlebar out of the way, going to line these up and start by finger tightening this just a couple of turns in place, and then lining the handlebar up. Then I need to repeat the process on the other side, but before I do, I'm just going to go ahead and put this other bolt in just to kind of help hold everything in place. And in. There we have it. I can check just to make sure I've got it lined up right and everything. Gonna scoot this over so that that center line is right where it needs to be. That cable is a little snug. So this cable here, which is for wiring into the control hub here, is a little too tight. So we're going to, I don't feel comfortable with it that tight, so I'm going to take out the smaller of the 2 shims and try this again. Well, what if it went on the front? What if it just stayed over there? Huh, hang on. I want to try something. If I move it to the front, it's not tight. How about that? So now I just got to do it on this side. So I've learned that if I push this electrical cable to the front of the handlebars, it's not tight on the risers anymore. So that's a good thing. Hey buddy, how you doing? Working on a bike in a park. Things are gonna happen. All right, in place. Okay, there, now there's slack on those cables. And all the riser pieces are in. Okay, so, important, put the cables in the front. All right, now what we're ready to do is put the top brackets on after we have them lined up. So I'm going to try to hold those in place and get this out the way. Put this in place. And line it up. Making sure that this line is lined up with that. This line right here is centered on that screw. And now I'm just gonna tighten these up so it gets a little bit snugger. Take the other top mounting bracket that's from the Honda. Take this out. Trying to line that up. And I'm not going to make these super Godzilla tight yet because we want to see if we can roll the handlebars to their best position. Yeah, they will move. Okay, so what I'm going to do is have Rachel sit on the bike and turn the handlebars toward her and then see how it feels. It's good? Okay, cool. The tilt was where you wanted it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to now Godzilla tight these bolts. That should do. Now we take the speedometer. It clips back onto the handlebar underneath, which is something I did not know before I started this project. Clip. and then it just spins around this way, and then it'll line up with those holes. Get the 2 bolts I took off earlier, which are over here on my bike, and then I'm going to get the 5mm wrench once it's lined up. Now I'm going to get the real 5mm wrench and get it lined up and started. Get this side lined up and started. How about I actually get it lined up? There we go. And done. So everything is now snug. Handlebars are not going anywhere. Can't move them. And now we're up, I believe, 1.25 inches higher than we were when we started. And we've made a little bit of a roll adjustment on the handlebars, and hopefully we've done a better job of getting these handlebars where Rachel would prefer to have them. All that's left to do is have Rachel test out the bike.
All right, let's give this bad boy a little spin, shall we? Let's see if the modifications that we made are going to be helpful. All right, well, first of all, I noticed that I'm sitting up a little bit straighter. So that's more comfortable, especially when I'm not going down the freeway. I like having the option to sit up straight. That's the way I sat up on my last bike. And I can still lean forward if I feel like it, which I might do on the freeway.
Is the speedometer cluster any easier to see?
Well, could be. I can see it pretty well. Usually I have a problem because of the glare. It's not so much the placement, but this could make it a little bit easier. Yeah, I think I'm happy with the change. This is what I wanted. And it's not a huge difference, but it's enough of a difference.
So, as far as handling and being able to make the bike corner,
it feels slightly different. I have to think about it a little bit because my instincts don't quite match what the handlebars do now, but it won't take long for me to get used to it.
Okay, cool.
It feels good. It's not a huge difference, but it's enough of a difference. I think it's going to be good.
Are you feeling less pressure on your shoulder?
A little bit, yeah.
Well, now the true trick is going to be seeing what it's like on the highway.
Yeah.
Because now you're more upright.
Yeah, but it's okay. I can lean over anytime I want to.
Well, you feel less like you're leaning forward. You look less like you're leaning forward, at least from back here.
Yeah, I'm able to sit up straighter than I could before. So that was kind of the main thing, is I wanted to have the option, right?
Right.
Because if I feel like it, I can always lean over. That's fine. But it's not, I felt before like I was sort of obligated to lean forward.
Right.
And now I have the choice, which is great.
Right.
Yay! Oh yeah, this is nice. I like it.
You definitely look like you're in a more upright position.
Yeah, which is what I like. I mean, I was getting used to being leaned over a little bit, but this is a little bit going to be kinder to my shoulder, I think. And I can always lean over anytime I feel like it. That's totally not a problem.